Let's take a look at the brain-friendly reading kindergarten materials that are also appropriate for kids who are 4 years old, as well as children who may be 6 or 7 years old who are brand new to reading and need to move at a pace that's slower than the first chart. If you're working with an older child who might be new to learning English and they need to move at a slower pace for whatever reason, then this material is also appropriate for them. And keep in mind that the squares that are on the kindergarten chart are primarily the same ones that are on the first chart. If you have a child who's happy to tap that first chart, that's the best place to start. It will give them the most access to all the letters and sounds as quickly as possible. When you download the kindergarten reading and spelling program, you'll find an infographic that will help you to understand how the different pieces of the program are related to one another. And if you notice, there's dotted lines between each of them saying that these are all happening simultaneously, that children are engaging these activities not in a linear way, but they might be playing the secret decoder game while they're also tapping a chart and beginning to build words with letter tiles and work on their handwriting and working with taking the initial consonants of different sounds that they need to practice with and sorting those. To develop phonological skills, here's a variety of different suggestions for how to help children develop the ability to hear the sounds in our language. And as they develop the ability to hear those individual sounds, phoneme means sound, we're also helping them attach those sounds to letters. We use chart tapping in order to be able to do that. There's information here about how to tap the chart, a QR code for tapping the whole chart, a QR code for the chart being tapped line by line. So you could just play the individual line off of the YouTube video. You don't even have to know how to do it when you start. The short vowel chart, how to use that to help build the child's ability to hear those short vowel sounds, as well as the first chart.
Apple app. Apple. B bap. B bap. C cat. C G dog. D dog. E and F. E and F.
You might have a child who seems to be doing really well with the kindergarten chart, and you decide you just want to go ahead and tap that first chart and jump right into the training companion guide using the short A lessons. There's a little bit of information at the bottom on sound dictation.
How about bull?
Bowl. Bowl. Okay. Bowl.
B.
B.
Bull.
Bowl.
Bull. And do it one more time.
B.
B.
Bowl. Bowl.
Awesome. And how about, should we do fur? Fur.
Fur.
Like in frog?
Yeah.
Okay.
Frog.
Awesome. Fur. Okay, do it
Fur.
one more time. Watch what I do.
Okay. So, lowercase.
Yep. Start here.
Okay. One. Fur.
Awesome. Good job.
Frog.
Now full
Full.
or flag. Start here.
I messed up.
Okay, watch me.
Okay. Full. Ag. Full.
Full
flag.
flag. Awesome. Okay, ready?
The next page has a variety of different notes related to chart tapping. The first one is pacing. For the individual strip, you're going to teach a square a day, or you could teach several in a day, or even a whole strip. And because it's call and response, the children are able to do that work more quickly than you might imagine. When you're just tapping and working with that A strip, you're going to start tapping the I strip. So information here about how quickly to move through the work. There are many different ways that you can support a child who's saying the incorrect sound. You can chart tap even if you think the child is reading CVC words okay. Helping the child to develop automaticity with those letter sound connections is beneficial for their speed and accuracy with decoding, but also with spelling. And the last section talks about how chart tapping works in concert with arm tapping to help fill gaps, whether you know about them or you don't know about them, and being able to have that phonemic awareness and letter sound connection for both reading and for spelling. The next page, we'll talk about additional ways to build letter sound correspondences. So you can chart tap, and sometimes you need additional ways for the children to be able to practice those letter sound connections. So we're doing something similar with a little bit of variety. You can engage in 2-column matching using the pictures and letter cards. You might make a sound chart board game for the children to play, or engage in initial consonant sorting or playing face-up memory. Also, the chart materials are available in full sheets, half sheets, and quarter size for flashcards or for use in a small group. There's QR codes here to remind you or give you initial instruction on how to play what is a sound chart board game, the initial consonant sort, the short vowel game, what is continuous phonation, which is related to how we blend sounds into words. We do that first on our arms, but we do it later with letters. Face-up memory and matching, and how one kindergarten teacher is using brain-friendly reading in her classroom. The next page talks about blending sounds into words, and a child who isn't blending sounds into words still needs to work on developing phonemic awareness skills and letter sound correspondences. This gives the litmus test for, is a child really ready to read? Can the child blend a word orally with no letters? So if you say ugh, does the child say mug? If so, the child's ready to add letters to their work and layer on that additional level of difficulty. Until then, they're not ready to do that. And you can continue to play games like the secret decoder game. You can engage in oral arm tapping throughout the day. There's a link to that here with a 10-minute video on many different ways you can use downtime to do oral arm tapping. You can engage in initial consonant sound sorting. This is a box that reminds you about what phonics is for both blending sounds into words, which is reading, and breaking words into sounds for spelling. And here's a little bit of information about continuous phonation again with a link to a video describing it. When we're blending sounds into words, the first way that we're going to do that is with letter tiles or magnets. We're focusing just on letter sound correspondences and being able to build words, which is a precursor for spelling. And remember, reading and spelling are two sides of the same coin. And when we spell dictated words, ideally with a picture cue so that we're developing vocabulary or making meaning out of it, we can do that work with a 4-year-old when they have the appropriate prerequisites that we've talked about, developing the ears to be able to hear the sounds in words and those letter sound correspondences. And building words taxes the working memory less since the child is focusing on one letter sound correspondence at a time. And brain-friendly reading, the child utilizes 2 skills for support: arm tapping and referring to the sound chart or the chart strip. So they have that as a control of error and a way to help them to recall the sound as they need it. So the process is very straightforward, where we dictate a word to the child repeats it, we arm tap it together, and we build it one letter at a time. And the teacher can use the prompts: what is at the beginning? What's in the middle? What's at the end? And the child can build words with letter tiles or with letter magnets. There are scripted lessons available for you to be able to utilize if this is new learning for you. In the Brain Friendly Reading program, there's a variety of different cards that you can use in prepared materials. There's large picture cards for 2-column matching and face-up memory. When the children are able to blend sounds into words on their arm, they're ready to play Go Fish or Memory. Those materials are scaffolded by strip. The game boards are also scaffolded by strip for kindergarten. There's game boards that also have all the consonant sounds that are called the Phonics game boards. The bingo boards are not scaffolded by strip. There are short A bingo boards, but they include all the consonant sounds, and the same is also true for the vocabulary and comprehension cards. The Go Fish card deck has a lot of different options of ways that you can play it that are listed there, and there's pacing. Handwriting is a key piece of the brain-friendly reading program, not just because children need to be able to write letters, but because when they make the letter shape using their hand while saying the sound, they're attaching that letter shape to the sound and moving it into long-term memory. We start with gross motor when we're developing handwriting skills, and we are going to remember that developing the child's muscles in their hands is key for the child to be able to do fine motor handwriting work.
Can.
You want to show them this one?
Yep. A. Cat.
This is a process for engaging the child in handwriting. At the bottom is a sequence that can be used for the introduction of the letters, how to give verbal prompts when the child is writing. Like for A, we give them a starting dot and maybe the direction that they need to go. And we can say around, up, and down. Learn how to give those verbal prompts to guide the child who needs that support. Here are also some activities that you can do in preparation for handwriting. They help the child to develop the skills to be able to move the chalk or the write on wipe off marker, or even the felt tip pen on a piece of graph paper in the shapes that are necessary in order to be able to handwrite. So you can engage in all of these different activities to develop pre-handwriting skills. The kindergarten chart has the vowels along the left-hand side, and each vowel next to it has a set of consonants that can be used to build words and also for dictation, so that you can work with this material one strip at a time, remembering that if you're tapping this strip with the children and you begin to do sound dictation and begin to build words or initial consonant work with it, that you're already moving ahead and tapping the next strip. You're preparing the child's ability to be able to be really successful with the next strip by giving them those letter sound correspondences earlier. It doesn't mean that when you get to E, you're going to be doing all this work. When you get to U and E, we're still just working with single consonants. We're not including CK. We're not including floss. When we're at E, we're not including these digraphs. These come as separate and individual lessons. Kindergarten teachers are teaching their children how to tap the first chart in order, and they will have the blank chart available for children to tap as a whole group as an extra challenge. This piece of material was created by a kindergarten teacher so that they could use this as an assessment. The K2 chart was recently developed that has L blends, R blends, and S blends on it. So you can tap those one row at a time. If you want to layer L blends into short vowel work, you could do that. The same with R blends, S blends, and then you have 2 rows of vowel teams and bossy R's. Along the side, ALL says all and old and ein, those kind old words, and a few pieces, ending chunks, if you will, that were not included on the first chart that show up in common words. Remember, when you tap that K2 chart, that you give children the opportunity to be able to have access to all those letter sound correspondences, even if you never teach a direct lesson on any of them. Every single strip has a lesson page. Again, there's a teacher box at the top that gives you information. There's scripted portions and notes. There's a chart strip that you can cut out and use if you want this size for the chart strip. There are words that can be built with the letters in the strip, and phrases, and very short sentences. At the bottom of every lesson page, this is called level 2. You can circle back around to this work when the child is ready for 2-word sentences or phrases. In the material, you'll also find a larger chart strip for small group work. You'll find large letter cards and picture cards that go together. A couple of them are repeated just because the way the layout works. There are 2 different Go Fish pages. One of them has 1 word, and you need 2 sheets in order to make 1 game set. The second Go Fish page has the phrases and sentences on it that are from the lesson page. Again, you can use as many or as few cards as you want from that material. When you get to the short I lesson page, you'll find that it's similar. It's the second strip. Here is your teacher notes, any puzzle words that need to be taught. In this case, these are words that need to be taught early because they're used in the sentences below. A chart strip. In the first strip, you have short I words. Some of them have endings that are from the first strip. Some of them have new letters that were taught in this strip. And the second strip, you have words that are short A that contain consonants from both strips. And you'll notice that those are organized by word families, Working with word families with young children helps them to be able to develop that pattern recognition. Again, you have the level 2 work that has just short I work. The puzzle words should be bolded. And then here is short A and short I work so that we're constantly engaging in review. Teachers organize this work in all kinds of ways. You might take the large chart strip and put it on a piece of really sturdy cardstock and laminate it. The children can have this out whenever they're working with, let's say, building words with letter tiles. This is a child's ready reference for when they forget the letter sound connection, they can come back and tap it. But in this work, if they were going to be doing a picture word match, they would turn it over and can pick up a picture, sun, put it on their arm, sun. What's at the beginning? S. And they can find their s and check it. S, sun, s. Pick up the next picture card. App. What's at the beginning? And they can set that aside. Map, and they can continue to match. And when they think that they've got it all, they can turn over their chart and check it. Map, T, tiger, T, those charts. But it provides another way for the children to engage in a multisensory activity and be practicing those letter sound connections.